Hi everyone, and welcome to somewhere new, something new we're trying today. We thought we'd step out the house, so we'll see how this goes. I hope you like the area. We're not too far from the house though, literally just across the road in our path and walkway. So today what I was hoping to do is to continue with the subject and the discussion of budgeting. So what exactly do you look for in terms of the major expense lines in terms of your budget? And then of course, if you do have a change of circumstances like a job loss or a salary cut or anything like that, sort of what to do in terms of your budgeting. So when we're looking at a budget, now remember guys, go back to the previous videos on budgeting. The first thing to do is to budget as soon as your salary hits or as soon as you get paid, because if you don't give every dirham a name, you're never going to be in control of your finances. When it comes to budgeting, I believe there are four major expense lines which you should be looking at, and you should always try to prioritize these. And this is just in terms of your living and your standard of living. And these are, of course, your housing, your transport, your food, and your utilities. These four items, guys, as you know, is what you require to live, to stay alive, and to keep moving from day to day. So make sure you prioritize these. Now, in terms of looking at a healthy budget, now everyone's budget is different according to your lifestyle and what you earn, but there are some recommended percentages which has not been recommended by me personally. It's by Dave Ramsey and Ramsey Solutions, who's been doing this for many years, and he is the leader in financing and doing your finances right and trying to live debt free. So what are the healthy recommended percentages? Well, look at the screen and it'll be coming up shortly. So as you can see guys, in this graph, it's always recommended your highest spend is always going to be your housing. Now that should not be more than 25%, the payment or repayment, whether it's for a mortgage or rent, should not be higher than 25% of your monthly income or salary. For those of you that do have a mortgage, again, go back to some of our previous footage where we've mentioned that if you do have a mortgage, if you do have debt, the only recommended debt that you should have is that of a mortgage. And if you do have a mortgage, it should be at a fixed interest rate. It should be at the least amount possible of repayments in terms of years. The highest should be 15 years, and it shouldn't be, like I've mentioned, more than 25% of your monthly salary or income that you have. And then if we go to the next categories, guys, you'll see that the next spending percentage is only going to be about 10%. That's again the highest, and there's only about 4 category lines in there, and these again are your giving or your charitable funds that you have, 10%, your transportation, so if you are renting a car or if you do have a car payment of any sort, which we also don't recommend, it shouldn't be higher than 10%, as well as your utilities and food as well should be in that 10% percentile. Everything else, guys, should be around the 5% mark. This includes, you know, going out, entertainment, health, if you're looking at things, even your debt, your total sum of debt, if you do have debt and if you are working your way out of this, it shouldn't be higher than 5%. Now again, guys, like I said, budgeting is a very personal thing. These are just recommended percentages to try and live healthily. Of course, there are a lot of other lines which can be incorporated in this. Someone mentioned to me the other day, what about schooling, Julian? Because especially in this region, schooling is such a high expense. And The reason why we thought we wouldn't include schooling is because it's a very personal thing, and it really depends on your personal choices and lifestyles, etc. So if you are sacrificing in one area and you feel that schooling is a priority, as long as it's healthy in terms of percentage, you've got to do what works for you. When it's unhealthy is when your schooling is a higher percentage than your 4 main pillars, which I've just mentioned, or anything else. But like I said, guys, every budget is personal because it is a personal financial tool. Again, if you guys have any questions on the recommended percentages, do shoot them in. We'll be happy to answer those for you, if and when we can as well. Now, the next thing I just wanted to briefly touch on was if, for example, you've had a change in salary, or you've had a job loss, or a salary cut, or a salary freeze in any way, shape or form, how do you adjust your budget then according to this, especially when that revenue line is being hit? Again, I've mentioned this in our previous videos, but it's a very simple formula, guys. So if your income or your revenue changes, then your expense lines have to change. As I've mentioned recently in our social media, you've got to dress for the season that you're in. If it's summer, you're not going to go out in a winter coat, woolly hat, scarves, jacket, etc. You are going to probably be, if you're a guy anyway, in a tank top, shorts, flip-flops, if and when you can, when you're not at work. And if it's winter, guys, you're going to wrap up warm. So the same thing with your budget and your finances. If you have a change in status and your income, you've got to adjust your life according to that. Now, when you start doing this in your budget, you've got to look at the major expense lines again, like I've said. So it's going to be your housing at the top end, your car, your insurances, your food, your recreation, your entertainment and things like that. So you have to trim down where you can. Sometimes it means making big decisions, but remember, this is just for a short term. This is just while your income is being affected or your salary is being cut. It means making some hard choices, like moving into a smaller place. If you can't afford nanny services, again, if schooling is an issue, you got to look at some other alternatives. It's making these hard decisions, guys, but adjusting to what life is throwing at you so that you don't create debt. Because when you don't adjust your lifestyle according to what you now earn and the way you can live, you are just going to be stealing from your future. You're going to start creating debt. It's just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's just going to take you a whole lot longer to get out of it and to readjust your life and to live truly free and abundantly. I think that's it for now, guys. Lots of disturbances out here. It is still pretty hot as well, and I've just heard the ice cream truck go by as well. So yeah, my daughter's just reminding me we got to get ice cream. But yeah, I hope it's been helpful. Thanks again for tuning in and watching. Follow us on our social media. Again, it's on the screens. We also have a podcast for those of you who don't like seeing our faces. And yeah, keep well, keep safe, and make that change.